What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be chatting about anti-mage and why you guys should be picking this hero a lot more often, given you do need to learn how to play anti-mage. Even though his kit might look very simple, he's actually kind of hard to play and get value from just because of the nature of the hero. Anti-mage provides a lot of carry power to his team. However, he does need to reach his item timings in order to be able to do that. If anti-mage does not hit his timings, he can be one of the weakest carries in Dota. So you do need to be an anti-mage player to get value from him, but I do recommend you guys start picking him up a little bit more. I think the hero's in a really good spot, especially because most of his counter matchups are not meta right now, and they're not super popular, and they're also not really good heroes right now to pick. More often than not, you're going to be having pretty good anti-mage games, and that's really good because a snowballing anti-mage can be a very big problem. If you're able to hit these timings super quickly, there's not a whole lot they can do to stop you, and the fact that you can farm very quickly once you have Battle Fury, that just makes things even easier for you, but that could also hinder you. Without Battle Fury, you really farm very slow, so it's an item that you need to get every single game. There used to be some variations where some people would even go Mask of Madness, Maelstrom. I always thought those builds were very meme, and even the Diffusal build I don't think is very good. However, I do recommend buying Vanguard before your Battle Fury. Now that's on certain games that you feel like you're gonna be pressured and you're gonna be required to fight early, because a lot of games nowadays revolve on playing with the carry very early on, and anti-mage is not the type of carry that wants to play very active early on. So in order for you to be an active anti-mage, you need to have Vanguard. You need to have this item in order to be able to be active. It also helps you farm because it makes you tankier, it gives you more regen, so it does help you farm a little bit. It's not going to increase your farming speed that much. However, you won't really need regen because Vanguard just allows you to tank the hits much better, and you could take stacks very slowly, but it can still help you. Without the Vanguard, you're not going to be taking stacks. Even with Battle Fury, it's still difficult to take stacks because you're so weak. Vanguard just makes you a much tankier hero, and you guys should be taking advantage of that. So you get the Vanguard, you get the treads, and then you get the Battle Fury. So typically you're going to be aiming for 15-16 minutes for that Battle Fury, including the Vanguard. That's going to be on good games. Don't think that that's going to happen every single game. You might be getting an 18-minute Battle Fury, but having Vanguard is good because if you do need to join a team fight, you can easily join that fight, provide the help that your team desperately needs, and then you can go back to farming and finish up that Battle Fury. That is one thing that is really good about the build, because you get to be involved very early on, and that's good to have the option to be able to do it. Now, if it's a very free anti-mage game, you're not getting pressured in the lane, there's no counter matchups, then obviously you can just go straight for the Battle Fury after the treads. But if you feel like it's going to be a difficult game, they have a lot of early potential, then you do want to build that Vanguard just in case. And then you're going to get a Manta into a Basher. Getting an Abyssal is going to be much faster if you want that Vanguard route, and then you got a Butterfly, and then you could pretty much get BKB, MKB, but your staples are Battle Fury and Manta. Those you're going to get every single game, and then Basher pretty much every game, and then Butterfly and Monkey King Bar, you can kind of swap them out depending on what you may need. If you're facing up against heroes with evasion, you want to get that Monkey King Bar. Now let's talk about some of the best pairings you guys can use for the anti-mage. Some of the best ones are Venomancer, Crystal Maiden, Tusk, Dark Willow. These are very good supports for you to go with the anti-mage, especially Venomancer. It is such an annoying lane, guys. I cannot stress enough. If you guys want to have a really good time on the anti-mage, play with a Venomancer in your lane. You're going to be winning that lane pretty much 90% of the time just because it's so easy. There's so much damage coming out from the Venomancer, and there's so much slow and mana burn coming in from you that they're really just not going to want to play the lane. They're probably going to have to do some kind of lane shenanigans to be able to get away from it, because honestly, every time I've played the Veno lane, I haven't lost a single one. You could lose the game after, but you're not going to lose the lane. It's very difficult unless you're facing up against an offlane Slark or something like that, which doesn't really happen very often. It would be a very situational pick at best, and it wouldn't really work very well, and you can go pretty good into Slark early on. In the mid game, it's not as great, but overall your matchup isn't terrible against the Slark. But heroes like Tusk can easily help you out with Snowball and Tag Team, give you that extra little bit of damage. It could also help you with the lockdown. Dark Willow as well, lots of magic damage, could also help you with the lockdown, which you're not going to have early on. Until you have that Abyssal, you have absolutely no lockdown, so it is a really good way for you to get ahead in the lane to have these supports backing your play. Now let's talk about some of the best and the worst matchups you can go up against on the anti-mage. Some of the best ones are Medusa, Storm Spirit, Mars, Wraith King, Tinker, Zeus. Pretty much heroes with high mana you're going to be really good up against. Heroes like Medusa, their entire play is based off mana, so if you can burn that mana, you're going to be killing Medusa. Storm as well, he is nothing without mana, so you can easily take care of that hero. And heroes like Mars and Wraith King have very weak mana pools, so you can easily exploit that and get a lot of value by playing the anti-mage. And Tinker and Zeus, they have a lot of mana, so you're able to do even more damage. Your mana void will be much more effective, and you're going to be doing a ton of damage on the map against these heroes. Now, some of the bad matchups are heroes that have a ton of lockdown. You really don't want to go up against these heroes. Heroes like Huskar, Slardar, Axe, Legion Commander, Meepo, Phantom Assassin. These heroes are the bane of your existence. They're extremely tough matchups for a reason. Huskar can lock you down, especially with the Aghanim Scepter build. Slardar can easily chain bash you into oblivion. If you do get out, it's going to be in the early game. Once he has a lot of attack speed, you're not going to be able to get out. You're going to be chain stunned to death. Heroes like Axe can easily call and pretty much ruin your day. You're not tanky enough to be able to survive the call most of the time. You're going to be pretty much killing yourself to blade mail. You don't like building BKB very early, and heroes like Legion Commander can just keep dueling you over and over, so you have to play very safe on the map, and you have to be very, very careful. Now, there is outplay potential. You could dodge the duel with your counter shield. You can stop the duel from happening. However, it can be very difficult. It does require a lot of practice, and it also requires you to have vision. That way you can time it properly and be able to use it effectively. If you don't have any vision, you're probably not going to be able to pull it off unless you are an anti-mage player and you play it quite consistently. Then you're going to have a much better time because your reflexes tend to be faster when you play the hero a lot, and it is pretty good to have quick reflexes, not only to manta dodge but to blink out of sticky situations and really not get initiated on, because this hero wants to pick his targets. So when you're playing around the fight, you don't want to jump in and automatically just go on a target. You want your team to initiate. You want your team to take the brunt of the spells, and you want to jump the backline. You want to jump these high priority targets. Heroes like Zeus, heroes like Witch Doctor, heroes like Rubik. You want to jump these targets in the backline, get rid of them quickly, and then you can select another target and go for them. But you want to be able to have the time and the space to select what target you're going to be going for. You don't want to go for the tankiest hero because you're not going to be able to kill them quickly. Even a farmed anti-mage typically doesn't have a very high time to kill, so you typically want to go for the squishier heroes, get rid of them, give your team the advantage that way, and then you can start focusing on the rest of the targets. But overall, I think the hero's in a really good position, and I think if you know what you're doing on anti-mage, you should be picking the hero a lot more often, as most of his bad matchups are just not meta right now and they're not very popular. You're going to have a lot more really good anti-mage games, and with the Vanguard, you can even fight early. So even if you get counter-picked, you have a really good shot of being very aggressive early on and kind of counter those matchups by being active with your team and not letting them out on a disadvantage. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys learned something, consider subscribing and joining the Dota Chronicles community. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.